Good. Toolkit's here. See you later, little buddy.
Hey, how are you getting on?
Not bad, not bad. Our gear's finally arrived from dispatch. I can start deactivating mines and leftover ordnance now.
Oh, right. And do you do that by hand?
Sure do. Crawl up close, identify it, and then just, disarm the thing.
I'm sure it's more involved than that.
Yeah, well, I may have skipped the part where, it can explode. Gotcha.
So, Nathan, may I ask, when you first came to Oreo Castro, what were you doing there?
IDAP asked me to give some talks on landmines.
Talks? Who with?
Anyone who'd listen, really. It was all about raising awareness. Well, you were one sneaky little bastard. Now, what were you hiding upstairs? There's an old photograph here. Picture of Alexis and his brother Marcos.
The civilian killed at the church? The landmine, right?
Yeah. Although honestly, it was a small miracle he'd made it that far.
Tell me more about Marcos.
Poor guy. He always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He'd made it through the airstrike, but only to get caught up in the assault that followed right after.
There were still guerrillas in the town, even after the strike.
But Oreo Castro, it wasn't just a town. It had become a symbol of the resistance. It was important for both sides, and government forces were making their final push. Alexis had made it out, but his brother? Like I say, Marcos was always shit out of luck. The guy'd been waiting at his brother's place. Marcos was wounded, caught in the leg by shrapnel.
I see. Do you think he went there to talk his brother into leaving, or to join the cause?
Marcos was there to talk his brother down, I think. He was only interested in survival, and that meant getting IDAP at the church.
He remained a non-combatant then?
Protected by the Geneva Conventions, Article 51. But you gotta remember, right after the strike, it was total chaos. soon realized he had to keep the distance. An hour or two later, the government sent a truck to our camp. The soldiers searched the civilians for hidden weapons.
But they didn't find any.
No, and we'd already checked. It's vital our camps are weapon-free spaces, safe havens.
And Marcus, he must have made it through then.
Yeah, just about. We talked a few times after. I don't know, he seemed different.
I can imagine why. And what did he do after?
Hard to tell, but like I said, he kept looking for his brother.
Of course. And Marcus, his body, is still there in the churchyard?
Yeah. To think he survived all that just to return to the same spot less than a year later.
Nathan, you said that Alexis had been a recruit in the Altis armed forces.
Yeah, that's right.
So his decision to leave the army, to join the guerrillas, do you know how that came about?
It's funny, I asked Marcos the same thing once. He just looked at me and shrugged. Later on, I heard their father had been killed in the Civil War, but I don't know. Whatever his reasons, Marcos seemed to have made peace with the fact he wouldn't change his brother's mind. I remember there used to be a cafe here once. Local place. Actually, that's an understatement. I must have picked up more local curse words there than the entire rest of my time out here put together.
It sounds like quite an institution. Did it shut down when the fighting started?
Eventually. The guy who ran it, he didn't have much love for the government. I remember he used to charge the local soldiers double, called it a tourist tax. And one night he was bundled off in the back of a truck. Never saw that guy again. Going back to what I said about the people here, their support for the guerrillas, sometimes it was a lot more than food and water.
What, guns?
Yeah, Even after the government troops arrived, garrisoned their mayor's house, folks are still doing all they could for the cause.
My understanding of NATO's actions, particularly against the guerrillas, it's patchy. Maybe you could help fill the gaps?
Sure. Well, aside from the odd direct engagement, it was mostly aerial support, drone strikes. Of course, that all came from the airbase, the one on Stratus.
I see. Not Altis.
No. Even before they were forced to leave, their presence on the mainland didn't stack up to much. Those guys at the outpost, the ones murdered by the guerrillas, they never even got a shot off.
How come?
Not sure. I mean, it all happened at night. Big thunderstorm, heavy rain. But there are rumors. Some even claim the attackers were wearing army uniforms.
I see. That would constitute a war crime, no? An act of perfidy?
Yeah, but after the executions, in for a dime, in for a dollar. Strange to think kids once played here.
I assume the town was evacuated at some point.
Oh yeah, early on. Many folk left as soon as the ceasefire started to fall apart. Others fled when all those leaflets came. Just a handful of people were here for the end. You know, when I joined IDAP, we were a pretty small outfit.
And how many countries is IDAP active in today?
Now, we're pretty widespread, 50 in the global south alone. CCB, DRR, you name it, we provide aid and development for more than 60 million each year.
If you don't mind me saying, Nathan, you sound... I don't know exactly.
Look, it's great we can help so many now, just back in the day, there wasn't so much politics, you know?
The Army's offensive against the town. It seems like, well, a disaster, to be honest.
Yeah, they never imagined the guerrillas would put up a fight, that's for sure. The mines on the road caught them off guard, immobilized their armor. They took heavy casualties from mortar and MG emplacements, too. Some even blamed the Army command, said they gifted the enemy time to organize.
The leaflets.
Right. It was a tough call. Complying with the laws of war, it's got a price.
The siege of the town? My notes suggest it lasted for 2 weeks. How could that be?
Divine intervention.
Pardon me?
No, just the weather. Got in their way. Weeks of thick cloud cover blanketed the town.
I'm still not sure I follow.
It prevented the Army from calling in Cass. Soon as that cleared, though, well, you know about the cluster strike. Do you know Mark Cole, Kate?
Our foreign correspondent, yes, of course.
I met him out here just before the ceasefire failed.
That sounds about right. Mark's been toing and froing since the coup back in 26. I've been meaning to ask, after NATO pulled out, when CSAT stepped in, how did that affect your work?
Day to day? I mean, Coin-Op stepped up, but honestly, things are already sliding that way, even with NATO at the helm. For the most part, CSAT were mindful of our activities. Brutal, no doubt, but at least clinical. Whole thing felt like one big PR exercise for them.
Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't IDAP and NATO share some common goals? The training, for example. The laws of armed conflict?
Sorta. It's a tough one, actually. It was important we didn't overstep the mark.
You had to be impartial.
Precisely. In a conflict, we have to remain neutral, a partner to all parties, even those that, personally, we may object to. NATO's been busy. Even managed to clear out a few mines.
You mentioned that IDAP worked with a local mechanic. How did that come about?
Hollywood might call it serendipity, but I don't know, he just saved our ass one time, and then another, and so the story goes. There wasn't much special about his setup, but guy knew the difference between a crankshaft and a tire iron.
He was good at what he did then.
There wasn't much he couldn't fix. Never asked for a receipt, though, if you know what I mean. Special type, too. Very distinctive.
Remnants of the firefight. The one you've been telling me about.
That's right.
And Alexis. He'd been there.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just met a guy claiming to have known him.
So, this firefight, it was... Just let me check the calendar. 8 days ago?
Yeah. Day of the NATO invasion. After the flashpoint on Stratus, there was chaos. Nobody seemed to know what to do. Finally, NATO got their act together, launched an assault on the Altis mainland.
And CSAT?
Caught off guard by the whole thing. They were there to fight guerrillas, not start World War III. So when CSAT dropped their support, government forces panicked. They were on the back foot, needed to regroup. Major Gavras was put in charge, but it was a tall order. Gavras tried to fortify their position in the northwest, but it was a risk, and he ended up cut off. The guerrillas, they didn't hesitate, stormed its position, sent the survivors running.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, how did you come to hear this?
Costas Dimitriou, a lieutenant, and the major's adjutant. Along with Gavras, the two of them were trying to make it to a helipack.
Move 200 meters, front.
You say they were trying to make it.
Mm-hmm. NATO took it out.
How?
Fast mover, half a click, west.
Tank buster. At that point, they had air supremacy. Caught it on the hop.
Did they have another plan?
Not exactly, but they decided to make a stand at the church.
Helicopter, 2 clicks, west. Move to the church. Helicopter, 100 meters, right.
The Major, what sort of a man was he? Was he respected?
Yeah, I mean, his reputation wasn't bloodied in the Civil War. Gavras was his own man, knew when to follow orders and when to adapt them.
Not the type to violate LOAC, then.
Well, that's a gray area. In the course of the firefight, the Major used a mine dispenser. You can think of it like a portable minefield. This thing throws 14 mines as much as 50 feet, spread out across a wide arc of fire in front of it.
And they're designed to maim, rather than kill.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. They can still be lethal. The Major ordered Custis to place mines too.
We've got an explosive here. Car, 400 meters, northeast. Dimitiro, attack that truck, northeast. Truck, 400 meters, northeast.
They scattered the mines and sat tight, waiting for the enemy. Facing those kind of odds, it was the only thing they could do.
Contact, man! Man, 75 meters to the right of us. Rifleman, 100 meters, right. Man, 75 meters, right. Contact, man! Contact, rifleman! Contact, machine gunner! Rifleman, 75 meters to the right of us. Dimitiero, engage that machine gunner. Left flank. Contact, man! Contact, rifleman! I've got him! Contact, man! Dimitiero, engage that back to the rear. Contact, medic!
Finally, the message came. Second helo was inbound.
They dispatched another.
Yeah, it was a risk, sure, but government forces were in free fall and the major was important. They just had to get to a different LZ before reinforcements turned up and cut them off.
Cover me! Reloading! Medic!
Talk to me about the Major. What happened when he returned? Did he survive the war?
Yeah, he did. He's pretty much the reason NATO's invasion lasted 3 days instead of 1. You heard about the fierce fighting at Karakori, right?
Yes, a colleague of mine covered that, actually.
Well, that was Gavris. He held the line till the government capitulated. And now, actually, he's involved in the peace process.
One, return to formation. Parachutes, 100 meters, right. Dimitiro, board that vehicle. Dimitiro, target that parachute, right. Truck, 100 meters, left.
Lieutenant Dimitriou. He came to IDAP, to our camp. The AAF provided us with information on the mines. Guy was a wreck, but his training had kicked in. He documented the minefields. Well, as best he could. But for Marcos, it was already too late. He'd already found one. Poor bastard.
Did Costas explain what happened to the others? Those wounded by the mines in the firefight?
No, he got out of there pretty quick from the sounds of it. Andy, though, my colleague here, he reckons some of them were rescued by a NATO response team.
Okay. You've mentioned Alexis was with the guerrillas. Do you know what became of him?
No, his fate's unknown, but I can only imagine he's dead, buried somewhere. Some unmarked grave, like so many others.
Honestly, Nathan, all this information, it's a godsend. You've given me loads to work with here.
It's nothing, really.
Now, there's just one last question I'd like to ask you. It's subjective, so take your time.
Sure. Fire away.
In your opinion, who's most to blame for all the suffering in Orio Castro? NATO? The guerrillas? CSAT? The Altis armed forces? Or, I don't know, something else? Do you think the Major's death had any impact on the war? So, these leaflets, they were a warning to the town.
Yeah, they confirmed the offensive.
Do you happen to remember it well? The airstrike, I mean.
Yeah. October 13th. They scattered the mines and sat tight, waiting for the enemy. Facing those kind of odds.
You've seen things from both sides. I mean, now as an NGO, too.
I'd have to say, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it's quite so black and white. It's more black and gray. Hell, gray and gray, No one side can be held accountable for the bloodshed here. No one action got us where we are now. I don't know. What can we do? Just double down on our efforts. Heal the wounds. And the folks here in Orio Castro, they're the ones that have suffered. This is the reality. This is war.
Hey, Nathan, I have a link for you. It's to my article. Be gentle, it's a draft. My editor's running it by legal as we speak.
Oh, right, yeah, the mines. I've still got work to do here.
Of course. Okay, well, thanks again for everything. Should I let you get on, or...?
I don't mind talking. Maybe I can tell you a bit more about the town. I don't know if it's helpful, but, I remember hearing about a bunch of NATO guys that wound up working with the guerrillas.
Really? Wait, you mean during the Altis invasion?
No, that's the thing. Beforehand. Rumor has it they escaped Stratus, made it over here, and joined up with the locals.
Thanks, yeah. I'll definitely do some digging.
Andy, you there? Hey, it's me.
Hello. Did I hear correctly? You're on the move?
Yeah, next job. Some truck hit an AT mine yesterday. Little ways out from here, I said we'd check up on it.
Okay. I'll not keep you. Thanks again. And good luck out there, Nathan. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye, Kate.
I've cut that sentence on the scar face down to anatomical. Show, don't tell, remember?
Right. And here, US Marine Corps, not USMC?
Marine Corps. And our angle?
Last paragraph. I moved it down a bit. Figured you'd want to conclude on that.
No sword of Damocles, please. Remember, we're creating a space, defining the boundaries. Let our readers fill the gaps. Perfect. Think about the pull quotes. I'll be back in 10. Gotta tell Bartleby his story's spiked. Thanks, guys.
As the projected cost of the Mediterranean flashpoint rises to over $4 billion, several NATO member states face increased pressure to further cut military funding. A freedom of information request revealed that this is mostly attributed to heavy material losses and the destruction of certain
Hey, Carrie, we're here.
Thanks for the ride, man.
No worries, just keep out of trouble.
flashpoints in several
Mr. Cole?
Yes, Mark Cole.
Seems so. Sergeant Baker, welcome to Altis. I'm supposed to take you to Eagles. I mean, Mr. Cole. Let's get going. One second. They've given me a bunch of keys. There's supposed to be a car around here somewhere. A red off-road. Got it. Come on, hop in. God damn it. Looks like this piece of junk's almost out of gas. All right, slight detour. Need to fill up.
So, tell me, Sergeant, have you been here from the start? I mean, the start of the flashpoint.
Yeah. Actually, a few months before the first AAF attack.
And
I don't follow.
what caused it? The public's waiting for an explanation.
I'm not really at liberty to talk about that. But speaking off the record, I still don't really know for sure. I mean, Christ, sure, it's easy to blame CSAT, but the Greenpeace, sorry, AAF, they definitely needed a push.
And who, in your view, gave them that push?
Isn't that supposed to be your job to find out?
Oh, believe me, Sergeant Carey, I'm trying.
All right, that should do it.
Okay then, change the topic. I was told that Mr. Panagopoulos was involved with guerrillas during the flashpoint. Is that correct?
Sure, I thought that was public knowledge.
It is, but come on. I'd like to know what he's actually done for the FIA.
Why don't you ask him when we get there? All right, we're almost there.
Just one last question, sir.
Shoot.
Did British forces play any part in this incident?
What do you mean? They shipped out long before the flashpoint started.
Yeah, that's what the UK government keeps saying. Hell, they almost seem to believe it.
Not sure I follow him.
Tell me, Sergeant, have you ever met Cluster Stavro?
Yeah?
Then why don't you ask him?
Breaking news from the Republic of Altis Instruments. Today, the Altis concern advanced news on weapons against its residential units. Panagopoulos, a former merchant, had strong
Okay, we're
ties
here.
with the FIA.
Nikos, Mr. Panagopoulos? He's that guy in the shirt over there. Take care.
Thanks for the ride, Sergeant. Listen, if you ever want to talk some more, just give me a call.
Copy that, Mr. Cole. Take it easy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Panagopoulos. I'm Mark Cole from AAM. Do you have a second?
Oh, yes, of course. My thanks, Ben. So, welcome to my homeland, Mr. Cole. There is much to discuss.
Sergeant Carey, we've got a situation here. Return to base immediately.
Not again. Affirmative, Crossroads. I'll be right there.